come on now. You all set that up so beautifully. So beautiful over here. Great morning, everybody. What a community we have here. CTM all day long. Brad is actually the inventor of Great Morning. He brought it to our community so long ago, and it has been absolutely essential in making sure that we all get our mind set correctly as we get going over here, continuing to do what we do each and every day, and that's that keep that laser focused. Jordan, you got to focus on the technicals over here. What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, getting ready here for our live stream wherever you are in the world right now. Wherever you are in the world right now, I am so glad that you're here together. That includes, and most especially those listening on the replay. Thank you for being here with us all. Bitcoin this morning when I woke up was trading at $58,000. And now I see we're trading down to 57,650, almost unchanged on the day, up 0.25%. It must be like the currency markets. If you move over to the currency markets, you see everything is unchanged. Everything is unchanged, just like Bitcoin today. Futures, overnight futures in the indexes, unchanged. Dollar, that's down a little bit. Dollar's a little weak, off 0.25%. The big story that's of the day is silver is up another 1%, trading at $26.80. But our entries were at 25, right? From 25, maybe some of you got it a little lower than me at 24.75 on the retest. But holding, let's see what develops, if anything develops, and we're able to take out the yearly high or not. I'm not looking for a $2 gain in silver. No. That's not what we came here for. We're watching Bitcoin, the bull of all bulls over here, and we're trying to see what's going on. Are we seeing that V-place recovery, that V-shaped recovery taking place? So far right on time. By the May 10th, that would have perfect symmetry between what the correction took us to come out of it. We talked about that as we were going in, that perhaps since it was so steep, we would see a steep acceleration out of it as well. We go back to the past cycle. We know that in the 2017 cycle, where we are today, it took actually Bitcoin 20 days to make that new all-time high and then move on to the rip your face off parabolic move. Is it coming? Is it coming, or has this consolidation taken a lot of people with high time preference out of the game, out of the trade, as Bitcoin is setting up over here for its next leg up over here? Wave one of the two waves we're looking at into the vertical blow off top. We'll see how it unfolds. Ian sent over this beautiful piece of art, right? This is the Ethereum Bitcoin with the bull of all bulls, Bitcoin. And if you're looking at the background in the blue, you're looking at Ethereum Bitcoin last cycle. As you're looking at over here in orange, Bitcoin in the 2017 bull market run. And then we have over here the current bull market run of Bitcoin. I'm sorry, this is 2013, the first cycle over here in green. Please forgive me. And we could see the symmetry of the 4-year cycle during the bull market phase. 3 different phases: the bull market phase, the bear market, and then the accumulation phase. The 4-year cycle with the 3 distinct periods. We're looking here just at the bull market phase. It's currently where we're in right now. What is different? We're going to go ahead. Jordan, I'm not following you ever. No more. I'm unsubbing right now. How could you consult, past cycles and then say that behavior is going to play out again? What could you just focus on the fundamentals, Jordan? Listen, first of all, a few different things to talk about. Let me diverge for a second over here. I would love to see 7 to 10 minute recaps of these videos for sure. That would be awesome, right? During the recovery of the equity markets back during the crisis, Jordan was doing a nightly recap every day. Probably a bit busier this day with his kids and family, as Jordan would say, right? This is not for you. Because you're lazy, right? You got to put the time and effort in to achieve life-changing results, right? You have to put the time and effort to achieve life. Jordan offers all his wisdom for free. It's up to you what you do with it. Yeah, that's awesome. That'd be beautiful. Thank you so much. What? Please provide advice on getting with 2 eyes. Listen, we got a quick ban. I'm so sorry that happened and that you had to see that. We put that up there. Forgive it, but that's gone. So listen. Jordan, you got to focus on the fundamentals. First, people telling me you got to focus on the tech. What am I seeing, by the way? Let's get the technicals out of the way over here. It's pretty clear what we're watching over here. We had the first repair out of the pullback we were looking for. The best entry, of course. We came up into that next bit of resistance. Why is that trend line there, by the way? I could see as we come back and test it as support why it would be there. But if you remember, we were watching the 2-hour time frame, and as soon as price pulled back, I set a trend line from the top over here, extending it down to that 2-hour touch as price pulled back. We could see that later it became support. That was very helpful for us. And then we had the blue line over here. Let me come back to the 8-hour. The blue line over here, breakout, retest again. And now again, we're into that final resistance. This is the final resistance breaking above this trend line. Sets off. Yes, we will take out the 6,000 resistance. And that, or of course, let's get technical. Of course, we could come in, we could break out, retest, resume back up. It's a matter of time. We're focusing in on it. Let me get to that later. Let's talk about the fundamentals for a second. How about that? We could focus on-chain analytics. They're fantastic. They're great. Or we could use adoption, the amount of new wallets entering the space, on-chain in money flows. And we do that, once a month. We consult that stuff because at the end of the day, that's all lagging to what's happening with price. And what's happening with price is repeating past cycles. It's what set up the trade in the first place. For the year plus that we've been in the trade, it's helped us stay in the trade and play out right on time. Abandoning a model before it breaks is not really how I do it. Anyway, I digress. Jordan, you do perfect the delicate art of balancing psychology, technicals, and fundamentals, right? You continue to nail these with such eloquence. Been following you for over a year, and every video is a joy to watch. Pamela and everyone, there are so many of you that get it, and I'm so grateful for it because it's what gives me the energy to keep going over here. By the way, what a pleasure it is to work with Alan. Alan over here on the Ethereum thread. This all, you got to follow my train of thought. And if you're following each every day, it's just, I'm sure, natural and easy for you. But I kind of go off on a tangent as I am about to right now, and then later in this episode, I'm going to tie that tangent to what we're talking about. It's just how my mind works. I kind of like set up for the conclusion. Alan, everyone has all these theories, right? What are we talking about? I think we're talking, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Follow me. But they tend to look at far too short a time frame trying to time the market. Alan, man, at the beginning of alt season, focusing on the technicals. What were the fundamentals behind that? Like, how did we know that alt season was going to happen? Well, Jordan, you consulted past the past cycle, and that's how you lined it up. And it just happened again. Oh, okay. Things can pump separately or together. Alan, with that laser focus, getting the perfect entries on a lot of these altcoins at the right time. Things can pump separately or together, but everything will likely rise over time, as we've seen since the bull market started, right? Playing the whole alt season. If you're playing alts, stop trading in and out and into the next thing and trying to find what's going to be the next Dogecoin. Dogecoin is Dogecoin. Like, if you weren't there, you missed the pump. Watch out for the dump. But everything will likely rise over time, as we've seen since the bull market started. Most who hodl are likely outperforming those trying to constantly trade and time things. I said at the very beginning of the bull market that most people that try to trade are going to wind up losing more money than they would have made of hodling the whole way through. When I set up for you 3 ways to trade the Bitcoin bull market, right? And when we talk about Bitcoin, that's just the rising tide that lifts all boats. It includes Ethereum, as we see, is perfectly tracking the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin and the whole altcoin market, right? I told you many people who are not holding for that duration are going to be worse off, and many people who sell trying to time are going to have to buy back much higher, right? You could see that playing out right now. You can catch a big trend, by the way, like the breakout of Ethereum Bitcoin from a multi-year consolidation. We have the roadmap. We have the cheat sheet of the weekly time frame, but beyond that, most short-term stuff is just noise. I completely agree with that, with the one fine exception of the fact that during this is not coming. This is just like, I'm thinking of this right now as we speak. I don't mean to be setting them up like that. Is this over here? We're currently right now somewhere either over here or on the way down? We'll look at that in a second. But as we get towards the last 5 months, 4 months, we have about 4.5 months, I think, to the peak of this bull market, there are some tradable events over here, right? I'm only setting up this one over here, which unfolds in a 3-week period. If I could put on a trade in a 3-week period that is going to be a 5, 6, 7x without leverage, then I'm interested in that. I'm very interested in capping off the peak of this bull market with a trade like that. But for that to set up for me, we need to see some things happening that are leading me to believe that we're going to see a repeated behavior. Right now, I'm not seeing that on Ethereum, Bitcoin. It's different. What do I mean by that? Ian's chart work over here, absolutely beautiful. This one is what I want. And we're seeing the 2017 Ethereum Bitcoin pair, cross pair in green over here. And now we're seeing today's in red, right? Everyone knows right now the 2 lines in the middle, by the way, are real-time Ethereum in red, Bitcoin in blue, and they continue to track the 4-year cycle. Both of them right now looking towards the next peak over here, right? The peak of the first wave around June the 10th. This is what we're following. Now, what is different over here is that at this point in cycle, Ethereum, Bitcoin, why making a higher high than it did about 3 months ago? You know, my timing might be 2.5 months ago, whatever it is. It's definitely lagging the previous cycle. Bitcoin is not. Ethereum is not. Any way we look at Ethereum and Bitcoin, they continue to track the 4-year cycle. I'm trying to find a better chart over here of the 4-year cycle. Well, here you go. Got Ethereum in blue, Bitcoin in red, and tracking the 4-year cycle and continuing to track that cycle no matter what time frame we look at, even looking at both since inception. And what's neat about looking at both since inception, meaning Ethereum in blue starting in 2017, Bitcoin in white starting in 2013, is that double wave we saw in Bitcoin cycle also happened on Ethereum off its launch starting at the beginning. And now you could see that they continue so far today to track each other. This could be the peak of the bull market, Ethereum up here. And as we enter the bear market, if you're missing this, then you're missing everything when it comes to Bitcoin. Right? You want to focus on the fundamentals and follow some on-chain analytics. Oh, they're fun to do, right? Because it like just affirms, or maybe it's like confirmation bias, you know, whichever way you look at it, but it makes you feel good. But all those things are affirming what's happening with price. It's not the other way around. Price is not lagging to on-chain analytics. They're reflective of what is happening, which we see on the chart itself. All right. So if you have fun with that's when Alan puts together a thread of on-chain analytics, I read it and I love it. And it's very interesting. There's nothing going on chain that gives us the advantage that we get from looking at price and following price on a daily basis. All right. Anyway, what tangent I just went off and why I'm not really sure, or what I want to get back to is the fact that what we're looking at happening so far to date is Ethereum, Bitcoin not making a higher high than the last cycle, right? Is it concerning? Is something different this cycle? I can't really put my finger on it. Something is different where the dominance of Bitcoin is at 47%. You know, last time it was at 47%. We had more time to the peak of the bull market for things to play out. We got to go through this 4-month brutal move of Bitcoin trading up against all alts. Here, you know, mostly versus Ethereum is where we're tracking it. And then the massive move I just pointed out to you, that 3-week tradable event taking place at the peak of the bull market. I want to see all those things happen again. I want to see the continued symmetry, you know, because it makes me feel good about leaning into my position or further leaning into my position at the right time. And when I say that right now, like I'm set from the beginning of the bull market here, fully positioned, right? Now and more extreme from very low levels, right? But when I'm seeing over here, if I'm seeing Bitcoin running versus Ethereum and altcoins for a prolonged period, that time is running out. That time is running out and it's not happening yet. Now, I do see that Bitcoin is getting ready at this particular time to put it on what happened last time. For Bitcoin, moving hard up into the first week of June from over here, putting in that parabolic move, the first wave, as we've been forecasting to happen at this particular time. If that occurs, yeah, then we could see actually Bitcoin outperform Ethereum, which this point last cycle, by the way, just went into a big consolidation for 4 months. 4 or 5 months started consolidating. You could see it over here from June of 2017 all the way to November, 1 month before the peak. It consolidated. Are we going to see something like that happen again, or will Ethereum continue to lead? I don't have the answers to those questions, but it's what I'm most focused in on. It's what, and anyway, how it's being presented, I never know. I could just, and by the way, looking at that chart over here shared by Real Vision, this one over here where it overlays the cycle since inception, I think it's a good one, and it has me thinking, by the way, is Ethereum right now in mirroring Bitcoin bull market in 2017 a cycle behind? And if it is, and if you use that math, right, instead of a 50x as Bitcoin had in 2013, and then a 16x as it did in 2017, it's divided by 3, right? So is it possible that Ethereum is looking at 23,000? Are we looking at a 16, 17x for Ethereum? I don't know, but that kind of puts me in the price area, again, that we all seem to be looking at around $20,000 for Ethereum. I do think that's what's going to play out. Personally, people were asking whether or not we're going to see, by the way, 72,000 Ethereum, a 50x, another 70. I don't think so. Not yet. Not this cycle, right? I think that this probably is somewhere around the top for Ethereum. I have to always bring my focus back to what's important, and it's this over here. If people are like, Jordan, why are you repeating yourself all the time? It's because that's what's required for me to do the most important thing throughout this bull market phase, and that's sit on my hands. Jordan, I made 700% last week, yeah? Let's see what you do next week. Yeah, I have to continue to refocus over here. And as I watch what's going on the 4-year cycle chart, and I know that we're in the bull market phase, I know I'm looking for the cycle peak to exit. I know I'm focused over here on 1 and then 2 more waves into the vertical top. I have the precision needed to keep to stick with the trade and make sure everything's happening on time. It's why I do what I do. And all of you, by the way, who each and every day spend the time with me, Matt's talking about the mindset to conquer the markets. It's not an easy feat by any means. Thank you for your continued guidance. Yesterday was a fire session. It absolutely was. It's each and every one of you that are able to help me keep this focus. Unquestionably, thank you for that. This morning, did you see what was going on here this morning in the group as we were getting started? Oh, by the way, this is looking back at past corrections over here on Bitcoin to see how far price came out within a month. Someone thought it was very helpful to help people keep, as a group, the patience and confidence needed by looking at what happened on that. You have to go back and add a few more. Between September 2017 and December, there's a couple of more pullbacks as well. So this is the top of the bull market. That's why this one's in red. But you had 2 good pullbacks in there as well. Do check that out. Add them to that spreadsheet. Good stuff over there. I'm focused on Ethereum and Bitcoin as we're into this interesting level over here. You could see the channel that's developed. This is the prime trend line copied over here. Once we broke out of the channel, we had breakout, retest, resumption. This is where Raul basically was like, I'm selling. Whether he did or not, I have no idea. But there was he's selling his Ethereum or selling Bitcoin and moving all into Ethereum, right? Now, what happens next? We're into this next trend line resistance. If we break above this resistance, I think that we could be seeing playing out what happened last cycle and a really sharp move with Bitcoin's dominance dropping very quickly. This plays out over a couple of weeks. A lot of people could be FOMOing at the top if it happens. I don't know if this cycle is different or not. If we're rejected over here, is it possible we come back down and test this trend line, this trend line support, the broken resistance that's been tested once? It is. A breakout above, we're all going to be watching for a sharp move. If we have a 100% gain like last time, unfolding in the next 2 weeks, that's going to be very promising for myself. That's going to be, for me, like a green light that I will be setting up the tradable event at the end of the year for myself, which could be significant. We looked at that in detailed together in one of the most recent CTM training sessions. You could defer to that right now. We're not going to get into that. I'm not sure what this week's training session is going to be. So focused each and every day on what's going on here in the markets. I will be thinking about that later today. Boom, 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 boom. So, yesterday in the Discord, recapping, buy my horse dividers, right? He was talking about the difference that we're seeing in the Ethereum Bitcoin cycle, last cycle and this cycle. I see it, something is different, right? It's what standed out to me most after yesterday's session or the last couple of sessions with you all, right? Bitcoin dominance in 2017 at this point was at 47%. It put in a little pullback and then crushed out upwards before peaking. We saw Bitcoin run then for many months. We don't have this time anymore. So something's got to play out a little bit different. It's what I'm watching right now in the markets. Until you guys, until I get into the log charts over here and what Patrick presented to all of us yesterday, off of my charts, off of my log charts, off of Will's and Adam's, we're going to go ahead. First, Ian was pointing out, right? If we think about adoption, what are the on-chain analytics that are, or that's not even, yeah, it is on-chain adoption. How many new wallets created? One of the most important is user adoption. If you look at how many wallets are being created right now a day, it is really mind-blowing. He's pointing out Ethereum is one cycle behind. So the previous, remember I was just doing, if we have a 17x, a 16x this time, as Bitcoin did in this cycle. So the previous Ethereum cycle, some people say they need to watch the sessions twice in order to really get the nuggets of wisdom that were shared, because it really does come out fast. And I'm sure I don't do the best job of articulating always what's going on in my mind. So sometimes they need to watch it twice. Some people talk about watching it back on the second time a little bit faster at 1.5 speed. I'll just make sure that I always try to do a better job at making sure everyone is on the same page as myself, so we continue forward together. But I do ask you at the same time to go ahead and smash that like button. We're light on likes. We might have only a few people in the room. Let me check. 2,000 people listening to what's being presented here together each and every day. Go ahead and do your part. Share some love. Smash that like button, right? So we're seeing that Ian goes on. So the previous Ethereum cycle was really its first and had the early small cap adoption pump and the double wave pump in the beginning, like Bitcoin's first cycle. What happened to Bitcoin in 2002 cycle? But this cycle is more mature, so that's why it's tracking Bitcoin, and we haven't seen that pre-mid cycle pump. Interesting. Actually, Ian's giving me the answer right here. They gave it to me yesterday, or yesterday morning after the live stream. This is the answer of the question that we're looking at, but it's definitely leading into the next Bitcoin wave in July. Ethereum did the same wave in previous cycle. Let's zoom in on the chart he's showing. Not this one, but this one over here. And what we're watching over here is, and this goes back to what I was saying yesterday, we could have Ethereum and Bitcoin peak at the same time this cycle, because we're seeing every time Bitcoin pulls back so far over the last 5 months, also Ethereum pulls back at that same time. In the previous cycle, that was different. It was lagging. Bitcoin would pull back and then Ethereum would pull back. That is a major difference to be watching. The other major difference to be watching is whether or not this continues. What happens to this next wave we're looking at? Does Ethereum continue to lead Bitcoin? As Bitcoin pulls back, does Ethereum pull back again? Or is this the place where we start seeing Ethereum consolidate? And that consolidation could go on, for 3 months. That consolidation could go on until the end of August, roughly a month before the projected cycle peak. And if that were to happen, I think a lot of traders would really be suffering over it. But if Bitcoin during that period is not consolidating as happened last cycle, and it's actually just putting in this double wave that we're looking at and expecting, it will start running hard versus Ethereum and all alts. If that is happening, I personally am definitely looking to position in for the massive spike, the peak of alt season, that last big move, because it'll be set up, like teed up perfectly. It's just, if you ever played T-ball as a kid, they put the ball on top of a pole and you just get to swing at it. It's teed up for you. It's very easy to miss. Again, but not that throwing a fastball or whatever you got to throw at me is not just as easy to hit. But if you're going to tee it up, I'm going to take advantage of it. So this is why I keep repeating myself over and over and over again. Those that are the most successful are the ones that have changed their time preference, are the ones who are not looking each and every day to move around, to get into this, to get into that. How do I do this? How do I do that? But they're following where I'm bringing your focus, right? Right now, that happens to be, by the way, before we pulled back, we put out the warnings. Watch out, big shakeout past 2 cycles this time. Watch out, big shakeout this, but the recovery is a V. And so far, that's playing out over here as we continue right over here, right on time. By the way, this is the 10th day after the bottom. If you look in real time right now on the 10th day in real time on Bitcoin, you're seeing that similar pattern play out over here as we put in the 9th day down bar, the 10th day an up bar. It's, and you could count the bars, it's 9, 10, 11. It's right there, whatever, right? I kind of keep it easy with broad strokes. So I want to get into the meat of it. This is something that's going to continue. You're going to hear me talking about as I'm waiting and watching for the run of Bitcoin versus Ethereum to see whether or not Ethereum consolidates or if Ethereum keeps running against Bitcoin. If Ethereum just keeps running against Bitcoin, then I'm looking for both of them to peak at the same time. And Ethereum during the next 4.5 months is going to continue outperforming Bitcoin, right? And the exit for Bitcoin will simply be the exit at cycle peak, positioning for the bear market. I will never get that opportunity to play this big spike over here. And I wouldn't play it against Ethereum. That's only a 2x, a 2.5x. If you look at something like Cardano, you're looking like at a 7x last cycle, different this cycle. If you look at a BNB, you're looking at what, an 8x. If you're looking at Ripple, but you're looking at over a 10x. If you're looking at, there was something else that over a 10x too, another high market cap. It's escaping me right now, which Tron, right? Tron did way more than that. Anyway, what will it be this cycle? Would I feel most comfortable positioning in with someone who had been a market leader the whole time? Would it be something that has enough of adoption, but not high enough of market cap where a lot of money could still drastically affect it, like Cardano? I don't know. We'll see if over the next 3 months we see this play out. Then I'll be setting that up a lot cleaner for myself. But I will not take that trade if this doesn't happen. If we don't see Bitcoin running against Ethereum and other alts, the dominance increasing, I'm not going to take that trade, which is why I talk about it today with you. And for me, that would just mean exiting cycle peak and positioning for the bear market. So always open to what's happening. I think we need to play some head snack as we get going over here, as we set off the next half of this series, talking about and getting into price targets on the upside and log charts over here. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Here comes head snack, dropping the beat.
Markets, analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Leave a like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room, grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
Love it each and every time. And I love this work over here by Boneholder. This is absolutely classic CTM all day long. Luke's asking a pretty important question over here. Look, do I think we're seeing more price manipulation by institutions this cycle of Bitcoin? Maybe trying to accumulate more for longer. We're coming through a pretty long consolidation period on Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has gone sideways for basically Since February the 20th over here, for 2 months, Bitcoin has gone sideways. Do I think it's price manipulation? It's what happens at this particular time of the bull market, and generally going forward, it's easier to understand now. I was trying to look for when, and Plan B's chart set it off for me of where the bear market low would be well in advance. And then as we got like close to that space, I'm kind of like, well, I'm really not going to call it, because there's no way to actually call it with accuracy. So I'm not going to call it. And basically I was like, in this area that we're in now, it's 55,000. This is what I feel is like the bear market low. It could be a little higher, it could be a little lower, but really we're generally in that area. And I've just, been saying like, it's pretty clear if you look at the last cycle peak, 19,400, right? And you do a 3x off of that in past cycles, that has also been the bear market low. That also puts us in that area that we're in. As price gets towards that area from last cycle, there's a consolidation here. Willy Woo talks about something about the profitability of the miners at this stage, and then you can look into that. I don't really know what it is, but as we reach that level, a 3x off the last all-time high, where the future bear market low tends to be or has been to date, that again, that's affirming the idea that we have been using as we came not doing a 3x, but how many months. And we were like, all right, this is where the bear market low should be of the next cycle, right? I don't think that institutions are manipulating price at all. I think this is Bitcoin being Bitcoin, and you're just seeing the same behavior continuing to play out. Good. It's an important question. It's a really good one. But listen, all markets are manipulated. It's your job to be able to profit from within that manipulation. There are bigger players out there than you who have their own desires they're trying to achieve. This is not the gold market, though, that is the most heavily market in the world, most heavily manipulated market in the world. I mean, you're talking billions of fines have been paid for like no manipulation. It's different. This is the chart you all remember that was shared the first week of January. This was Patrick's log scale chart, and it was used in order to find possible take profits during the bull market phase. I have to be honest, as Patrick is going to articulate very well over here, seeing potential price targets at that particular time in January, of over $500,000. And I can't even say today, like $670,000 is very high. Is that perhaps what has informed my opinion or not? We need to work together here. There's no question we have the best team there is in the markets, and it's homegrown. We just the video. You could bookmark this to watch this later. You could find it easily on the Bitcoin playlist or on the channel over here. But it's Bitcoin log charts with take profit trend lines. Looking for log scale resistance as we get towards the peak of the bull market over here as a good guide for us, right? And in that video in the description, we used Patrick's chart, which set this whole conversation off. We used Will's chart, right? We used my chart as well. And then I'm just looking at Adam's chart now. We're going to look at that together at the end. All right. Listen, this part right here, you need to watch with an open mind here so that we could work together and I could get your best opinion on what you think it is. And I'm going to show you why it doesn't make any sense to me and I can't get it. All right. So before we even do that, I want to start off with whatever 30-second intro I had with this video. Reasons this video today is going to be one of the most important videos I've ever produced and shared with all of you. One of those reasons is that it's going to be the first in a series of videos where we're looking and preparing for how we're going to exit Bitcoin during this. Jumpy, right? It's all jumpy. It's all jumpy. Either way, I think this just reinforces the fact of what we're trying to do here together all the time. And that's not only stay on the right side of the trade, but always constantly, daily, looking for anything that could adjust the way that we see things playing out. That is why I spend my time doing what I do. We're going to watch this video together. It is by Patrick. He shared it yesterday in the Discord. We're going to watch the whole video, or at least 10 minutes of it together. I watched the whole thing yesterday. We're going to watch, and I'm going to stop at points and probably talk about it, but hang out a second, watch what's being presented over here so you could understand the next portion of this episode.
Hey everybody, this is Pat. You might remember me back a number of days ago when Jordan, back on January 5th or 6th, did a recording based on the exit strategy using logarithmic bull market price targets and the logarithmic scale throughout the 12-year cycle going back to 2011 all the way out to 2021, 22. Just wanted to reach out to everybody and make sure that I had a quick conversation to make sure we clarify some things that are going on here. Brad did this great chart.
Wait, let me pause 1 second here. Do we have a lag that's unbearable that we can't watch what's being presented? Or is that like we have a lag, my time preference is so high I can't deal with it? Let me know whether or not we should be watching this together or if the quality of the playback is not such that it's going to be fruitful for us. All right, and I'm going to take a sip of my coffee while I wait for you guys to let me know. And we're 1 like short of 1,000 likes here. We're one like short. Perfectly fine. That's all I need to hear, right? Perfect. Not unbad. It's important what's being said. I could set his quality to 180. Oh, there we go. Good. No, it won't. It'll let me go to 480. We'll go up there. All right, let's get this back and go.
Which is awesome chart work, and and Jordan is rightly using it to have great discussions about price targets and price action. You'll notice that there are a number of trend lines. The primary trend line is this particular trend line. There's an interior trend line, and then there's these other 2 trend lines, and we're in this.
All right. Hang out 1 second. He's showing Brad's chart over here, right? We showed this together on yesterday's episode, and he's showing the trend lines that Brad's beautiful artwork, right? Big thumbs up and shout out to all of Brad, whether it's the DXY chart that he shared with us throughout that important decline, and or if the chart he's sharing with Bitcoin and its current channels over here. Beautiful artwork. What Patrick is pointing out over here is that his trend lines over here that Brad is using on this small time frame. This is the 2-month consolidation over here. These trend lines that he has, Patrick's trend lines perfectly line up. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to play it together here now but I want you to watch this video. I'm going to share this link with you. Please bookmark this link. You have to listen to everything Patrick presents, including where he talks about where he got, I told you when I showed his video last week that this was his prime trend line showing this touch over here and how it went up like this. He gives the correct area of where he formed the prime trend line, and it was coming off of all of this long support forming for so long over here and the touches over there. Listen to the whole video. I did. Listen and watch the whole video. But what he's saying over here, and he says so much good stuff in there, but what he's saying is, listen, we could be going much higher. When I look at Will's, and again, if you go back to the log chart video, you could see the links to all of our work. I'm going to get to mine in a second. If you look at the angle of Will's log scale, you could see that actually, as we look in real time, he's looking on the daily chart frame. This is that 2 months of consolidation. His log scale trend lines are also perfectly in play. So it's kind of interesting. You see Brad's, which match Patrick's, also match Will's, but Will's are much different. If you look at the full scale of Will's, Will is connecting the tops over here. You could see his prime trend line, how this was all resistance over there. And you could see that, that's giving us targets of somewhere around $270,000, $280,000 come the end of September. So there's a big difference over there, but both of their lines seem to be in play. So I looked at mine. I tried doing this exercise as well. And if you want to go on to, just click log at the bottom of your chart to click up a log chart, and you could try adding these trend lines yourself and seeing what you come up with. When I do it and when I did it, right? Let me try. Mine's close to Will's, right? I have a potential price target in September, somewhere around $250,000. When I look at what's happening in real time, I see that, yep, the same way Patrick's lines are let me get this over here, are currently in play, so are mine. So I'm confused to that, which is correct. When I first did the video on January the 10th, I was like, we need to consult all of these as we go forward so we could find out which is actually correct, and we could use that as a guide over here. As Patrick says in his video, as we start getting towards the last few weeks of this bull market over here, price is just going to start taking out resistance levels, moving in that vertical move up. We want to have the best guide we could have. Which of these is the best angle to use? So Patrick is like, well, mine are lining up. Mine are too. So are Will's right here. How does that make sense? There's such different. Here's Patrick's in real time, zoomed in. How could you deny that line is perfectly in play? You could see it over here. And if you were to clone this line and you were to put it down off the resistance over here, it then it's that line is in play. It's very difficult to understand, which is because they're drastically different, the slopes. The slopes are drastically different. And we all did this, what was it? 5 months ago, 5 months ago. That 5 months ago, we drew out those charts. And then today, watching in real time, they're all showing their trend lines are in play. How does that work? I'm not really sure. And then if you look at Adam's work, the last link in the description, by the way, Adam's, this looks pretty good to me when I look at it's close to mine. It's close to Will's. He's got, for whatever reason, I don't know, during this period over here, this bull market 4-year cycle, a 59-degree slope and then a 60-degree slope over here. And then going back, I don't know if it makes that much of a difference if you're using a 60% or if you use 59 for both. I'm just pointing out what he's doing over here. But this seems to be a nice touch over here. If this prime trend line, you take it down and you move it anywhere else, it's lining up. Is that giving us a potential price target somewhere around, I can't read what that is. It looks like 270,000. It looks like where mine and Will's is, in that 270, 280,000. He says 230. That's over here. That's September the 16th. We're looking to peak a little bit later. I just go up a little bit. A week later, 270,000, 280,000. I'm leaning towards mine still. I'm leaning toward Will's. I'm leaning towards Adam's over here, right? At the same time, I want to know if you can't deny Patrick's work is so perfectly in tune here. It is. So maybe his is right. I still want to know. If anyone has any insight into what's going on over how all of them could be so in play over here when we did these 5 months ago and our angles are so completely different. I would like to know your opinions on that. All I can say is whether it's these log scale charts, whether it's what's happening with Ethereum or and Bitcoin playing out together. Ian, thank you so much for this beautiful charts that you do every day. Or if it's focusing in on this current cycle and how the dance Ethereum and Bitcoin are doing together and how that continues to play out. Each and every day, I'm focused on what I believe to be the most important thing to keep me in the most important trade that matters. Now, if you missed it, if you didn't position in when I was look, the channel didn't have much reach. It still doesn't. There's very few. It's a select few that get to do what we do together. And out of the people that are even introduced to it, the people that are willing to commit, it's a select few. There are people who are part of this community and group who are actually just watching and learning, getting ready and positioning themselves for the next 4-year cycle, right? There are many people doing that. That's absolutely fire stuff over there. I wish I had their time preference, right? And there are a lot of people still seeing, wait a second, Bitcoin's trading at 55,000. We're projecting that it's going roughly a 5 to 7x from here, right? I could see why. It makes sense to me. The kid's been right for a while, not since here. We leaned into the halving. The halving wasn't priced in. People believe the halving was priced in, right? People believe that the 4-year cycle is not playing out. Okay, great, but we're riding the trade. We continue to be in the trade, and we're going to continue to nail it. This is beautiful. This is like best friend from forever. This bought a new house. The pond has like 40 of these kai fish, right? Apparently, you could sell them. I was telling him, by the way. Oh, here we go. I'm going to try to do that and get some Bitcoin money for next halving, right? That's absolutely CTM all day long. If you had taken that lightly leveraged position we spoke about when Bitcoin was around 10,000, you would be crushing it right now. Next cycle, lightly leveraged. You have to know where the cycle is. You have to know where you have to lean in, right? Anyway, it has been a good session over here. It's been a good session. We've covered a lot. This is, by the way, just me keeping an eye on everything that could affect the markets. This is what's going on here with liquidity as the Treasury is getting towards the end of unwinding. It's $1 trillion in cash that it unleashed upon the markets. How is the market going to react as we seize less liquidity? What's the Fed going to be doing? Right? Is the Fed going to be continuing? The Fed's purchases, by the way, month over month are what they're above what their expected purchases is supposed to be. The liquidity is still there and ample. Are they going to talk about pulling that back? Maybe as early as next month, maybe the June meeting, or is it going to be in the August Jackson Hole, conference when the world banksters get together and enjoy the Teton Mountains? I don't know, but I'm watching each and every day. I'm watching for anything that could get in the way. And all that noise that everybody lives within, all that noise that everyone, that for me is completely got horse blinders. I don't pay attention to it. It's not even happening. Dogecoin? What is that? What is that? That's how I roll. That's how I roll. I'm just reading some comments. I'm just enjoying the moment with all you. We're looking at gold shooting. Someone saying, let's check out over here. What's going on? Gold coming into the resistance. Beautiful. Beautiful. I saw it this morning in the Discord in the metals channel. By the way, if you want to join us on Discord, there's a link below in the description of this video that talks about the trading program. Everything's included. There's too much for even me to talk about. It's not even worth it. But what I'm looking at over here is my chart and the slope that I chose to use that I've described many times. Why? Because normally I use market symmetry. This was the one anomaly that I could find of recent date. And I was looking at Gene's chart he shared this morning, which has perfect symmetry, and it's a beautiful chart. If you go into the metals channel, look at that view as well. I'm always looking at different views of everything, right? When I look at Bitcoin this morning, this is how I'm looking at Bitcoin, by the way. Where's my Bitcoin chart, right? I'm looking at Bitcoin like this, right? And I know what's going on because we all know what's going on. We had the first repair, the second repair. We put in this line of resistance over here. Price broke it, retested, was resuming off, and then smack, boom, Yellen. The Fed should raise rates, right? Coming off, I saw 3,000 Bitcoin moved on to an exchange over here. And then we clone this line. We put in the support. Price did find support over here, and it's come back above that line of resistance. Retest, trying to resume off right now. It all looks very good. It all looks very bullish. But I also like to look at it like this, very clean, And I could see that second repair, the third repair, waiting for that last one. But it doesn't even need all that, right? I could just be looking at what's happening right now. The simplest way is often the best way, right? This is the last trend line we have, right? The last touch that occurred on the 3rd of May. Back into that resistance right now. That slope's in play. A breakout above that's going to send us. We're looking for the V, right? The quick V. People's time preference all out of whack. 2 days ago, they're like, oh, that's not quick enough, If we just have, by the way, the perfect symmetry, it's on May the 10th that we're challenging the all-time high, breaking above it. And if it's 20 days, where does 20 days pull? Last time it took us 20 days last cycle, right? I'm trying to find, maybe I got to be on the daily time frame. It'll be easier for me to find where 20 days is. right? The 15th of May. That's my situational awareness. That, by the way, even if it takes as long as it did last cycle, is a V. We'll see we'll see when we look back on it at the top of the Bitcoin bull market as we're at the peak. Remember how many times I tried to get you all to visualize what price was going to look like 6 months out? Did you see how that happened? Did you see that? If you look at this 6 months later and we're looking back at this, I firmly believe we're going to be looking at a V. We'll see. But I saw that lady I shared with you last week on CNBC, and she told us that Bitcoin was going down to 42,000. She said that she was a technical analysis expert, and she told us Bitcoin was going down to 42,000. Anyway, silver too. What is silver doing here? Boom, 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 boom. Up 3% over here, taking out $27. And again, you're going to see a lot of people start talking about silver. A lot of people start like, oh yeah, silver, you got it. We were right there, right on time. $25. Some of you got lower than me on the retest resumption off. We called them both out. We looked at them. We lined this trade up, stayed out of it whenever possible, right? Couple of entries that took place over here, a couple of tries, none of them working out in the long run. All of them good entries for accumulators, for holders. But here's our last break over here. Could this be the one? You know, we talked about, or I talked about early in the year, or late last year, 2021, yeah, we could see new all-time highs on silver. That would be fantastic. What are yields doing, by the way? And I don't know, right? This trade, by the way, I'm not looking for $2. I'm not looking for $5, right? So if this trade comes back, I could get stopped out of this trade very easily. We could continue going sideways here on silver for who knows how long, because that's all that's happening is since August, silver's gone sideways. Now, if you step back for a second, that's incredibly bullish, right? It's incredibly bullish what's taking place, but this is a massively long base being put in. Whether or not this is the breakout that sends it to new, towards that $50 new all-time high, or rejected at some place over here and continues to, I can't predict the future at all. But all I can say, as did this break over here, so far it looks promising. These never really went anywhere. Let's see what happens. There's not much else to say or talk about. FX is not really doing anything today. Let me take a look at the dollar. I haven't looked at the dollar in a while, right? And the dollar is what? It's consolidating in this bear flag. Here was the fake out, right? If we break down over here, I think that we could put in a massively big move. What do we have? Targeting first, 88.40. What happens below there? I would like to know. Yeah, that could get scary. Below 88.40 could be scary. We could see a significant devaluation of the dollar if this does play out. If we break out of this bear flag to the downside and take out the 80-40 support, there's not much in the way. We could see much lower. Nice first support happening, so right around the whole number 84, but it's not big. The big support is down here at 80-60. And could the dollar, by the way, right? Let's look at a monthly chart or a weekly chart of the dollar. Can you imagine I'm looking at the weekly chart of the dollar, right? If that were to occur and the dollar were to trade back towards these levels last seen since 2008 and all the way to 2014, really price has gone nowhere on the dollar if that were to occur over the last, 15 years, So, and that's FX today. Raul did a great job in that video that we shared yesterday. The Exponential Age is the title. Raul Pal, Exponential Age, of talking about, listen, it's very easy right now in the currency markets, right? Everyone is a race to devalue. There's no big catalyst that we're going to see. But if you remember what happened in 2013 when they went ahead to devalue the yen, it was a coordinated action by all central banks, right? There was a lot of room in that trade. Or if you're looking at the euro around that time as well, there was some beautiful moves We're not seeing that right now happening in FX because what we're seeing is like this unified effort to debase all fiat currency. So we understand that's why we're focused in Bitcoin. We understand that very well. I've did over a year on this channel, right? And over a year of training sessions in the FX markets. Nothing has changed. It's the same thing that it was yesterday as it was 100 years ago, as all markets are markets. If you want to learn how to trade, I highly recommend the greatest asset, the greatest tool is the Conquering the Markets community. It's going back and watching past sessions. A year ago this May, what was Jordan talking about? Because everyone else was talking about much different things. I'm like, this time last May, QE is uber asset inflationary. Stocks are going up. You can't sell stocks anymore, right? Now today, you can watch that video, The Exponential Age, and then like the rest of macro, they're like, oh yeah, I don't know why it's happening, but we're seeing the markets track the central bank liquidity. But that's where we were at that particular time, right? And then we had the whole QE is inflationary, deflationary debate. And we're like, no, are you kidding me? Deflationary? What are you talking about? They just expanded the dollar by a factor of about 30%. 30% of all dollars were created last year. You don't think that's going to have a consequence? Anyway, if you want to go back and watch any of those sessions and see what we were talking about, it's just as relevant as what's happening today. Especially because I trade off of charts. I trade off of price. I'm trading off of the market structure of support and resistance with the help of trend lines and chart patterns. If you want to master it, I highly recommend spending your time and focusing on the material that I've provided on the FX markets. It's where I learned it. Will the crypto markets eventually be a superior market to FX? Yes, they're not today. They're simply, the FX does not have the advantage of trading 24 hours, 7 days a week as crypto has. Huge advantage. The volume in crypto on the weekends is a little lower, but it's there and it's perfect, right? That's one distinct, but the amount of volume in the FX markets at this point dwarfs, what's happening, which there's over $5 to $7 trillion exchanged each day in the foreign exchange markets. The crypto markets right now is still very tiny. It's still very tiny. Either which way, let's take a look around. If there's anyone here left. All right, we got 1,700 people. Let me line up first the chart over here. There we go. And let's take a quick look around because it's been a minute since I saw what's going on in FX. So I'm going to start with what I know is going on in the DXY, in the dollar. Let me do that. And do you like my little, like, this is like, coach scratch over here? I could read it though. I hope you can. We just talked about it. Hopefully you all are seeing it. We never got back into this blue supply area that I was hoping. Sometimes you line things up too perfectly. That would have been, anyway. We're looking at the bear flag. We're looking at the dollar coming back, testing that support. If it breaks down, a big move could happen. Could we see continued appreciation of the euro-US dollar? $1.25. That's a big level. Are we headed towards there, right? Look at all these dots. Look at all, just make it worse, Jordan. Look at all these dots. I don't want to get rid. Anyway, for my own time. I like things neat and they get a little messy as I keep playing with them. I like things neat and they get a little bit messy. Jordan, why are you repeating yourself all the time? I can't take, this is not for you. This is not for you. No, Ricky's got a great question over here, right? Can we talk about how all the alts just finished pumping one after another and now the markets are flat in this hour? You got to change your time preference, Ricky. If you're trading and following what's going on hourly, it's way too high. Really, Ricky, that is signal right there. Focus in on that. All right. Really, that will change everything for you. It will really change everything for you. So what am I trying to see over here? What's going on with the euro-US dollar? It's going nowhere. Do you see that long sideways consolidation that's been? Do you remember, by the way? Because if you go back and you look at the videos we did early August, summer 2020, we'd come off that massive move on the euro US dollar. It was a lot of money was made. It was a great trades in that July. A lot of you participated, and then we were like, price is going sideways, and it's really continued since. It's really continued since. It makes me feel good about not being involved and focused, hyper focused right now on FX, and more leaning in and following what's going on with Bitcoin and crypto. What else? Australian dollar, US dollar. We'll look at the Japanese yen pairs next. I mean, again, it's going sideways for a long time. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, you know, the longer a market consolidates, the closer it is to a next phase with expansion. All markets do on all fractals and all time frames is go from expansion to consolidation. So we know that the dollar's been consolidating a while, setting up and getting ready for a big move. What time of year are we, right? We're in May. Sell in May, go away, right? What does that mean? What are market participants doing right now? Getting ready to go on vacation, you know? All right. Is this a big time where we usually see a big breakout? I don't know. Last year we did. You know, should we watch out for it? We've been consolidating for a while. Yep. How can we make it easy on ourselves? Can we give like some broad strokes of an area we would need to break out of before like this came in play? I think so. You know, if you remember watching the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar consolidating for 6 months, you had a fake out on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and then it moved into a massive. We could be getting ready for a big move. I don't see it right now. Listen, this is about as much time as it warrants. As the time price has gone nowhere. Right? Price starts picking up. I hope we're there to see it. It's time to just take a look. But again, that's against the yen, that's sideways. What else is there? The euro, Japanese yen. Bit surprising here seeing that yen, that euro who was lagging versus the yen over the last 2 months start actually performing stronger to its peers. Interesting observation. There's not much to add to the price is going nowhere. It's really not worth looking at FX at this particular moment. As we start seeing price move into its next phase as the expansion, I hope that we start getting focused in on when it matters, right? I'm looking for the sweet spot. I'm not looking to pick tops and bottoms. I'm not going to get caught up in the chop. If you want to really improve your performance, stay away from sideways markets. Stay away from price going nowhere, right? I wish I would have been more astute on Bitcoin. Understanding this consolidation, this period of time, a 3x off the all-time high. Next cycle, I'll be aware of it. It's going to be by the way, you have to take this breakout. And as that was happening, this was the chart that I was looking at with you. Let me pull up the halving tracker. Let me give you, here's the math that I'm currently doing. If 55,000 is the bear market low, right around it, right? If you take $350,000 minus 85%, it puts us around 52,500. By the way, that's higher than my projections. It's higher than Adam's projections. It's higher than Will's projection around that time. It's not higher than Patrick's. Patrick's is definitely way higher, right? So I have to, or does that mean that, you know what? Maybe September's not going to be the peak. Maybe September is not going to be the peak. Are we going to see Bitcoin making that run, setting up the last impulse phase of the alt season blow off? Another sign of the top of the Bitcoin cycle. You know, I am open. I am always willing to change my mind. And I just want to be on the right side. So I know that you have to be here all the time to continue to watch everything play out. So thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for spending the time with me today. I appreciate it. We're 1,300 likes. That's really good. I mean, 750, Ed, refresh your page. I got over here 1,330 likes, you know? Lots of love from all of you. I appreciate it. Programmable money. That's what it is. Few understand that, right? But that's what it is. Few understand that. More and more are. So many people see what we see, right? and you feel like everyone sees it, but so few see it so far. We're getting there. And that includes Bitcoin and the space as a whole. What percentage of the population owns Bitcoin and or any other cryptocurrency? I don't know what it is, but I know 10 years from now, it's going to be massively higher. You are an early adopter if you are here. You are literally, and by the way, not only an early adopter, buying Bitcoin at $55,000 is a lot, in my opinion, safer of an investment than it was, if you were buying in 2016. Things were sketchy, summer of 2016. It was a whole different environment, right? Or go back before that. And if you think that you would have bought Bitcoin in 2012, 2013, come on, really? Do you think so? And would you have held on to it, right? Things back then, they didn't know what was going to happen. The people who were living, breathing, and their life, they didn't know. You had some foresight out of visionaries like Hal Finney, right? Who was looking at, way ahead, and everything's playing out. Everything's playing out until the model breaks. You have to assume that it's not. We're looking, or I'm looking over here, hyper laser focused on just this 1-2 wave into the vertical blow off top, right? Are we going to see over the next 4.5 months that continue to play out right on time? If it has, could you imagine? People are already in a very comfortable place. Could you imagine what that's going to look like over the next 4.5 months? And if it's not, and if things are changing, if we're not moving into a vertical move going out throughout September, right? That's a sign that we're not topping here. That our math is off. My math is off. That maybe we're entering a super cycle or whatever else is happening. We will be there with an open mind to make sure that we continue to stay on the right side. And there it is for everyone. All right, let's go out with some honeymoon vocals. Thank you, everyone, for sharing the time.
You're in a bull market, expected to go up.
Do that 2 days in a row. 2 days. This is, I like bringing it up tomorrow. I'll show it to you. We looked at this, the Bitcoin strategy that helped me earn millions. Willy Woo, the bull market strategy. I like when you watch people or listen to people that you know more than, it's very easy to see that, and it'll become very clear to you. Watching, I can't get on him. William, 19-year-old, getting into the space, when he's talking, I listened to the talks, he's talking about like, oh yeah, you can't sell the top of the Bitcoin bull market. You actually have to watch for the breakdown and then try to get out. Oh, are you just going to mimic Willy Woo? Listen, we're getting out on the top. I'm getting out at the top. I'm getting out on the way up. I'm going all out. I don't scale out. I know where it is. We're going to crush it together. Everyone, thanks for spending the time together. I'll see you all tomorrow. We got some honeymoon vocals to take us out. Whoa. Wait 1 second over here. What do we got? Man, hold on. You see this in the Discord? Hold on, let me get the music off 1 second. Did you see this in the Discord over here? Man, throwing up right before I went live. This is actually 13 minutes before going live over here. Showing first Cardano versus, this is Bitcoin. You could see that long consolidation, the perfect buy, conquering the markets all day long. And now look over here. Ethereum's been running hot versus everything. You could see this beautiful trend line, Cardano, Ethereum, getting ready here, testing the resistance for a possible breakout. You might start seeing over here Cardano running. This is some beautiful work. Thank you for sharing that. The work that you guys all produce each and every day inside Discord is the best. There's no question about that. By the way, I mean, me and Alan have had conversations. You want everyone to follow the Conquering the Market strategy and principles. It's why we do what we do. You can't force everyone. You could lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, right? Listen, the more that you guys focus on conquering the market strategy and principles, the stronger your performance in game is going to be. Man, this is some beautiful chart work you have over here, conquering the markets all day long. Thank you for sharing that with me and with all of us. Thank you, Noah. Thank you so much. There it is. Follow the white rabbit. That's right, man. I'm huge, enormous. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Alan. Carl, thanks for making it as such. Thanks for making it as such, the best place on the internet. Everyone, thank you for everything. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. May God bless you. Man is an artist. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very Alan P-esque over there. You know? I love doing what we do. I love doing what we do. All right, everyone. Thank you, Joseph. Wow. Kimberly, 1,300 likes. That's absolute 1,400 likes. I'm glad. I never know. You know, I just love this stuff. I love sharing it with you all each and every day. All right, everyone. May God bless you.